This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. And it reads, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy." Giving all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Waharakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there toiling in this truth. I'm Pathakamoth Jim S. Dallas, and I'm just coming back at you with a really quick hit lesson. I brought this scripture out in Revelations, the 19th chapter and verse 10, because Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy, man. So you have to be dealing with prophecy to know what's going on, man. And those fakes in the land, those E's in the land over there, those Amalekites, those Khazars, they're not the people of the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? The chosen people of the Lord have not been placed back in the land. You know, and I brought that up because this past week, my elder Yashawamba here in Dallas put this in the chat, man. And I've been intending to do a lesson on it, and finally I'm getting a chance to get to it. So I'm gonna read this because, again, I read that in Revelation the 19th chapter, because it's about prophecy, man. And those fakes in the land don't line up with prophecy, man. And this reads, "At midnight on the 15th of May 1948, the British mandate was officially terminated and the state of Israel came into being. Several hours later," mind you, the same day, man. You know, these devils got bombed the same day that they got into the land, man. In 1948, by way of the Balfour Declaration. That's what we're reading right here. At midnight on the 15th of May 1948, the British mandate was officially terminated and the state of Israel came into being. Several hours later, Iraq and the neighboring Arab states, Egypt, Transjordan, and Syria, invaded the newborn state and immediately attacked Jewish settlements. So, boom, man, they got attacked the day that they got into the land, man. You know, which proves that they're not the people of the Lord, man. You know, and nothing over there is according to you know, them being the people is not according to the Bible, man. So I'm gonna really quick grab now Isaiah the 14th chapter, because this is how the actual true people of the Lord are going to get placed back in the land. This is Isaiah 14 and 1. And it reads, "For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land." So the Lord is going to put the nation of Israel back in the land over there, man. You know, which we know the Israelites to be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, man. You make up the 12 tribes, man. You know, and these devils who are your sworn-born enemies, natural-born enemies, you know, these Edomites, you know, which those Amalekites in the land are the chief top tribe of Edom, you know, the so-called self-proclaimed white people, you know, that's who they are, man. So they're in your land right now. They're in our land. So it says, Isaiah 14 and 1, "For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land." Not by way of the Balfour Declaration of 1948. That's not written anywhere, you know. And the strangers shall be joined with them, which is the Israelite foreigners, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Verse 2, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess in the land of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai," which is the land of Israel over there, "for servants and handmaids. They shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors," man. So that's another fulfillment of prophecy that is not happening with these devils, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't have any servants and handmaids, man. You know, you know. So this is the prophecy of how the actual true people of the Lord are going to be placed back in the land, man. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to put them back in the land, man. You know what I'm saying? So These devils don't line up with prophecy. We're gonna keep it moving because when you read in Micah, the 4th chapter, it's also in Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. You know, I'm gonna read a few verses here, just proving that these devils are not the people, man. There's no way they don't line up with prophecy. Micah 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it reads, "But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall be established in the top of the mountains." And those mountains represent governments, man. Because when Yahushai, our big brother Yahushai, returns, he's coming to take dominion of the earth, man. You know, when you read in Daniel, the 7th chapter, it says, "I beheld till the thrones were cast down," man. Those thrones represent rulerships, all of these different governments, man. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be cast down, you know. As a matter of fact, because in Revelations, the 19th chapter, if I would have read down a little further, I think around like verse 12, it says that Yahushai is coming to judge and make war, man. You know, and then when you go back into Daniel's the 7th chapter, like around verse 18, it goes into the saints of the Most High taking the kingdom, man. You know, because there will be war. There's a war coming, and that's that war in heaven. In Revelation, I believe 12 and 7, I believe, or 12. Yeah, I think the seventh verse, Revelations 12 and 7. That's that war in heaven, man. All these things are coming, man. It hadn't happened yet. So back in Micah 4 and 1, but that's what's gonna happen when these mountains, he's gonna establish the mountain of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai on the top of all these mountains, man. Back in Micah 4 and the end of verse 1, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. So that's representative of all these nations, because we're reading the kingdom of heaven being set up and established in the earth, man. This is what's going to be happening, man. Verse 2, "And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and to the house of the Most High, or the power of Jacob, Salakia, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai from Jerusalem." So the law is going to go forth of Zion, man, the nation of Israel. That's not happening right now, man. You know, the laws of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai are not being implemented in the earth right now, man. You know, they're not even being implemented over there in the land of Israel. Man, you got the biggest gay parade on the planet over there in the land, man. You know, they got kosher pork, kosher cigarettes, you know, just all types of abomination and madness going on over there in the land, man. But these people think those are the people of the Lord, man. No, man. As a matter of fact, if you just pay attention to the words, Jewish, Israeli, you know what I'm saying? Semitic, anti-Semitic. There is no Sim, man. It's Shem. You know, so all the names, they took the Jews and made it Jewish. Israel and made it Israeli. Shem and made it Sim. Just in the words prove that these people are not the people, man. You know what I'm saying? Just that's all total madness, man. That's nowhere in them. Israeli, Jewish, and Sim or Semitic is nowhere in the Bible, man. You know what I'm saying? So these people are devils, man. They're not the people of the Lord. But I want to make another point real quick, because it says that you know, since I'm here, you know, I'm just gonna make this point, and then we're gonna get right back. It says, and he will teach us of his ways, talking about the people that's gonna flow into the mountains of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. So with the law going forth out of Zion, who is being taught, man, the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Because when you read, let me jump over to, and we'll come back. Let's jump over to Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and verse 11. When you read here in Hebrews, the 8th chapter, that's not talking about the Israelites, man, because the Israelites are going to have the law, statutes, and commandments placed in our inward parts, man. The will and way of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to be placed in us, and we're going to become a perfect people, a perfect nation of people, man. You know, so we ain't going to have to be taught. As a matter of fact, let me read it. This is Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 11, and it reads, "And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest." So the nation of Israel, because let me just prove that when you read up, I'll start at verse, I guess, right here in verse, well, I want to get the Judah. And I'll start at verse 8. Hebrews 8:8. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come. So this is a future prophecy, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, when I will make a new covenant. This is the new covenant, proving that these heathen nations, these other nations, especially these Edomites, will not be a part of the new covenant, man. The second covenant. When I will make, so the days come, said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, when I will make a covenant with the house of Israel, which is representative of the northern kingdom, and with the house of Judah, which is representative of the southern kingdom. You know, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt. So we know that's who was led out of Egypt. These other nations weren't led out of Egypt. You know, the nation of Israel was, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. For this, verse 10, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. So the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to get put in our inward parts, man. He's going to write them in our minds. That's what heart represents, lab in the Hebrew, man. So these people are going to have the laws placed in them. So let's go back to Micah 4 now. This is Micah chapter 4 and verse 1. Was it verse 1? Verse 2, Salakia. Micah 4 and 2. And many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mount of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. So these people right here that are going to come up, these nations, are going to have to be taught, which we just read in Hebrews, the 8th chapter, that the nation of Israel, and which is the house of Israel and the house of Judah, are not going to have to be taught. So that proves that the other nations will not be part of the covenant, the new covenant, man. So I just want to make that real quick point, man. Now let's get back to proving these fakes are not they don't line up with prophecy, man. So it says, just continuing on, for the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai from Jerusalem. So here's the point of how they don't line up with because we're reading the kingdom of heaven right here, man. This is not happening over there in the land right now. Micah 4 and 3, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So the swords are going to, which is representative of these devils' weapons, their weaponry, their military. It says their swords shall be beat into plowshares, man, and their their spears into pruning hooks. Which swords and spears are weapons of war, representative of weapons of war, which of course this devil's blessing in Genesis the 27th chapter was the sword, man. You know what I'm saying? That's his blessing. So he's all about weapons and war, man. So his swords and his spears are going to be beaten to plowshares and pruning hooks, which are farming equipment, man, farming tools, So that hasn't happened. That has not happened, man. There's constant war. Since 1948, there's been several wars, man. And the ultimate war is we're on the cusp of that. World War III is about to happen, man. So we're reading how there's not going to be, they're going to beat. As a matter of fact, let me finish this out. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So when the rightful people, the actual people of the Lord, the true biblical Israelites are placed back in the land, it says, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So it ain't gonna be any more war, man. We just read that they got, in the little excerpt here, that at midnight on the 15th of May 1948, that they got bombed and invaded by Iraq and the neighboring Arab states, Egypt, Transjordan, and Syria. you know, so that proves that they're a lie, man. They're not the people. You know. So let me really quick. Let me go to Ezekiel. This is going to be a short lesson. Only got a couple more precepts I'm gonna bring out, and then I'm gonna bring this lesson to a close. This is Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 9, because after once the actual true people are placed back in the land, this is what's going to happen, man. Because Esau's blessing is going to be fulfilled and done with, man. So there's not going to be any need for warring anymore, man. You know what I'm saying? This man, he's all about weapons and war, man. You know what I'm saying? This is Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 9. And it reads, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows and the headstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years. And of course, we know the number 7 represents completion. So it's just a complete number of years until everything is destroyed, man, till all the weapons are destroyed, man. You know what I'm saying? So this hasn't happened yet, man. This is a future prophecy, a future event that's going to play out in the earth. You know what I'm saying? Once these devils are taken down, man. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be no need for his weaponry anymore, man. You know? And there's not going to be, and of course, the kingdom of heaven will be established in the earth. There's not going to be any need for war anymore, man. You know, we're just going to regulate these nations. You know what I'm saying? When they go off, you know, and they're going to be tributaries, man, to the nation of Israel. But actual war, no, and fighting it's not going to happen, man. You know. So let me grab one more, and then I'll bring this lesson to a close. But before I do, I want to grab something real quick in Google. This is Psalms 46 and verse 9. It reads, he maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. That hasn't happened yet, man. War is happening right now, which I'm gonna grab a few things and after I read this verse, you know, and just further proving those devils are fakes, man. You know, Psalms 46 and 9. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. That hasn't happened yet. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of armies is with us. The power of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. So these things haven't happened, because if they were the people, the weapons and would be burned up and there would be no more war, man. There's constant war. And of course, like I said, we have the ultimate war, the Battle of Armageddon. That third final war has to happen, man. It hadn't happened yet. So which proves they're not the people, man, because once the true people are back in the land, it's not going to be any war anymore. We just read it in Micah 4, and you can also read it in Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. You know, so before we get out of here, let me just go here real quick, because I typed this in Google. I just typed in war in Israel 2020. And it just pulled up, you know, this is what it pulled up. It says, Israel likely to face war in 2020. Top think tanks warn, you know, and I'm going to read this. It says, all out war in the north, escalation in Gaza and West Bank and Iran, and increasing threat, says assessments by INSS Tel Aviv University, man. So them devils are on the cusp of war like daily, man. You know, let me just read a couple of these down here, man. It says, is there war in Israel? Is there war between Lebanon and Israel? Let me click on that one. It reads, the Israeli-Lebanese conflict. or the South Lebanon conflict refers to the series of military clashes involving Israel, Lebanon, and Syria, the Palestine Liberation Organization, as well as various militias acting from within Lebanon. So there's a Lebanese conflict right here, you know what I'm saying, between Israel. Did Israel get bombed? It says over the course of 2011, 680 rockets, mortars, and Grad missiles were fired from the Gaza Strip into Israel. Come on, man. On the 7th of January, it claimed responsibility for a mortar attack that injured 3 agricultural workers, and the group was responsible for most of the attacks on Israel in the first 2 weeks of the year. Come on. We just read that ain't gonna be no more war, and the weapons are gonna be burned up, man. When the rightful people are placed back in the land, because that's gonna be the kingdom of heaven. Who fired missiles? Why Gaza is attacking Israel? Let's just go in this. Is Israel at war? It says this is a list of wars involving the state of Israel. Since its establishment in 1948, the state of Israel has fought 8 recognized wars, 2 Palestinian intifadas, and a series of armed conflicts in the border Arab-Israeli conflict. Come on, man. So there it is, man. That's enough, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we get the point. You know what I'm saying? We get the point. So these devils don't line up with prophecy, man, because if they were the people, it wouldn't, these conflicts and wars wouldn't be happening, man. So, I just, like I said, I saw that little excerpt and wanted to do a lesson on it. And finally I got a chance to get to it and do it. So hopefully this was edifying to the hopeful elect. With that, giving all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect, the house of David, the Bayath Shal Dawadat. Shalom.